1960 Eastern State Penitentiary.
Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. Craig, along with Chris and Austin. How are you gentlemen tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Hopefully not going to be a little too creeped out as we talk about haunted and creepy asylums in the U.S. history here.
I'm excited to visit some
places we don't want to go.
No, are you kidding? Got to go to these places to do some research. I mean, Austin may become single if he goes because he can't bring back any ghosts.
No.
So,
apparently, if I go to any haunted places, my girlfriend said she's leaving me.
So there's a possibility,
we had a fake,
that he may be single if we go to
when I first moved into this house, and she was upset.
Yeah. But no, so
we had a slight ghost issue. I thought we had when we first moved in, and she.
Which one was your favorite out of the creepy prisons, Greg?
Probably the one I have for last. It's one in West Virginia. That's one that's pretty creepy. But we'll start kind of like with a brief history. Lunatic Asylum is what it originally was called. It's the dark past of modern psychiatry. Before being referred to as mental hospitals, these facilities were more of a prison, where the only way of escaping these walls was the sweet escape of death. I mean, they were known. If you go in, you don't come out.
You don't come out.
You're coming out in a coffin. That's it. There's no walking out. I'm fixed. No. It was a death sentence. So before the large Victorian asylums, like you see the classic pictures, like huge buildings, the peaks, the steeples, they came to existence. It used to be family members would have to care for these mad people, as they were called, often resulting in these mentally ill being put out on the street to beg for food, becoming prey to serial killers, to just disease, to starvation, just dying in the streets. In the late 1800s, we saw the rise of what is now the large state-run mental asylums that we see abandoned now, as in these late 1800s, you saw to about up to right around the 1980s to 2000, when most of these have been shut down and abandoned
because they rotted and they just fell apart.
Yep, they just most of them were just because the conditions were so sickening and the treatment was so bad that nobody wanted, like I said, nobody could bear to put their name on this, and I approve of this. So they're just like, no, shut it down. It's So the first one I came across when I looked at it is the Willowbrook State School in Staten Island. It was known as the Snake Pit. In the 1960s, Robert Kennedy toured this, and he was absolutely sickened by what he saw. He referred to it as zoo-like.
Zoo-like?
Yep. And patients were left to wander around covered in their own urine and feces. It was abhorrent conditions. The first 10 years that this facility was in operation, two doctors, one by the name of Dr. Saul Krugman from NYU and Robert McCollum from Yale, conducted experiments, and one of them was Krugman's study, which involved feeding 60 mentally disabled kids live hepatitis by force feeding them milkshakes and involuntarily ingesting a diseased feces. So he gave 60 mentally handicapped people intentionally hepatitis to do research on them, because hepatitis was so prevalent at this facility. What did it matter if we gave more people hepatitis?
That is crazy. I didn't see that one, so just moderating right now.
Yeah, and so by the same time that Robert F. Kennedy was touring this place, Willowbrook had over 6,000 patients. It wasn't built to hold more than 4,000, so it's already overcrowded by 2,000 people. and so this is just leading to conditions. There's not enough people. People are crammed in tight spaces. Can't help. I said the patients there are living in filth and dirt, roaming the facility either partially clothed or naked.
Can you
And this
picture?
was
Can you imagine that?
no, and this is a lot of kids. It soon just
It sucks,
became
man.
known as through reputation as a warehouse for mentally disabled children. I mean, parents were just abandoning their kids there to be taken care of by the state. So, and then it takes an even darker turn after this part because now we've got this abandoned facility, a former custodian at Willowbrook, by the gentleman by the name of Andre Rand. He has a long rap sheet of sexual assaults and kidnappings.
Are you serious, Beard of
He,
Knowledge?
he brutally murders a 12-year-old
Oh
with
my
Down
God.
syndrome by the name. Her name was Jennifer Schweiger, and she was buried in a shallow grave on the abandoned grounds. And so he's found, and I apologize for forgetting the name, but there's a documentary that was made. I want to say it was a Cropsy. That's what I want to say, but it was done kind of shadowing this. So he's currently, I think he's up for parole in 2037. That's what it's got. But he's, so there's a
He's
call.
up for parole at all. That's just something you should be. No.
I mean, I doubt he's going to make it because I believe he's 75 right now. So I said I doubt he's going to make it.
Did they not have like death sentence?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Did they not have death sentences, or did they not have like life back then?
I see. That's the thing is I don't know. I mean, because on that, you think you just took a 12-year-old girl with Down syndrome, murderer, bury her in a shallow grave, and I'm like, you'd think that would qualify for
The death penalty.
Yeah. But there's a college, I can't remember the name of it right now. That's close. But they make lots of claims seeing former patient apparitions at this facility, and they also hear creepy yowls at night. Yeah. And if anybody knows what a yowl is, it's not a howl. It's a yowl is a cry of distress, like you're in pain, like you're in agony. And so there's people like disembodied.
Hey, can you hear me, Craig?
Yeah.
But you can go to your local nursing home and see that now. People be screaming, "Help me! Let me out!"
Yep. Kind of that, and then so that's like I said, that's what I have on that one right there for Willowbrook. And then like I said, Chris, I know you had one that you were wanting to cover.
The Eastern State Penitentiary was founded in 1829. And it was one of the first prisons that was going to individual inmate cells. So the warden had to go visit each inmate. You think that would be pretty nice, though, right? Get a visit from the warden, but not exactly. The warden would torture people, and they would actually hang them outside until the icicles formed on their body, and then they would bring them in. And we're talking about Eastern State Penitentiary now, and it's like sinister, like very sinister how he would do such a thing. And then suicide became like rampant there. People just started killing themselves to get out of the torture. And it's believed that now that you can go down the hallways and hear the yelping cries that Craig was referring to, and you can hear inmates talking, trying to get away from, like saying the warden is coming, and it's just crazy how you like see ghostly-like figures of people who were tortured to death.
God.
Jesus.
And it was.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah. So.
Sorry, I had an issue.
Yeah, no.
Did
you find any, Austin, yet that you want to talk about?
And that.
Yeah.
And then discuss. So
I think Chris is still.
And then it got ran down with rats and rodents. I mean, like, imagine you go for a crime and you're stuck with like rats and rodents. You get like a 10-year sentence and your people never see you again.
God, so it's that one. Now it was still, and when it was overrun by rats and stuff, it was still inhabited by patients at that time.
Yeah, it was still inhabited. It didn't close down till like 1971 till it got super ran down and they couldn't rehab it.
Wow. That's, is there, were you able to find any tales of hauntings in that facility?
That's the one I told you that
Well,
they're
I mean,
like
you go into research, but are they seeing like actual apparitions of the warden, or is it just the sounds?
just sounds, and they say you can hear a ghost on like the third or fourth floor, like chains rattling, and people
That's
just.
crazy.
I mean, I think it's true.
So that's yeah. I think still waiting for Austin's having a little thing here, but so while we're waiting on that, I'll go. Next one I found was
You got it?
Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital in New Jersey.
Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Why is this not working?
This one opened in 1876. It had 2,412 patients in a facility designed for 1,600.
Wow,
And
that's people living on top of people.
yeah, and this one was I didn't find a whole lot, of the actual stuff that occurred to people, other than this was what modern time, we call PTSD. Well, they took those patients and they would administer insulin shock therapy and electroconvulsive therapy on patients that had PTSD. So you're already traumatized, and now you're adding trauma on top of trauma to these things. And so um, this place has so much activity that, hey Debbie, how are you? Uh, a film crew came in there to do research on this, and they
The
ended up.
camera went haywire.
Well, it's a movie called Greystone Park. You can look it up. It's inspired by the paranormal experiences that the crew encountered while they were there. And so
Wow.
it didn't go into a whole lot of details. I mean, I haven't seen the movie before. I'll have to watch it, but it's talking about what's going on. It's so it looks like that one's an awesome one to view. And then the last one I have was the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. This is one that I'd known a little bit before, and I was interested, and that's why I saved it for last. For me, was this started out by a gentleman by the name of Thomas Story. I want to say it was Kirkbird. It might be in Kirkbirdy. Um, what he started out, he had a compassion for the mentally ill. His thing was, we need to make a place where people can go to heal. So it was bright, fresh air. It was a facility that was designed for 260 people, and he's the one that's created what's now called American Psychiatric Association.
Wow, somebody who opens a prison that a psych ward that is
And
got a
that's
bunch of crazy stuff going on. Now he's in charge of something.
well, it wasn't designed for this purpose. It was actually, at the time, it was a state of the art treatment facility. I mean, it was bright lights, fresh air. It was love, compassion. It was all about taking care of these. Well, because it was becoming successful, more and more people wanted to be part of this operation. So what was designed for 260 people now held 2,600 by the 1950s. So you're 10 times the capacity. So, I mean, picture your house that, you've got enough room for the 4 or 5 of you. Well, now throw 50 people in that house sleeping. And that's the conditions that this place had now. So now you have patients sleeping on the floors, freezing cold because there's no heat, no furniture. Windows are now covered in grime, and wallpaper is in tatters because patients in a panic are tearing them off the walls. And this and patients that were deemed unable to be controlled were locked into giant cages in an open space, so that way they can make room for the ones that were deemed less troublesome, that they could just put them aside. And in walks evil incarnate, a doctor by the name of Walter Freeman. He comes in with his experimental treatment that he wants to work on, and he begins training with a process known as a lobotomy with an ice pick.
Oh, lobotomy with an ice pick.
So this one is in the course of the time that he was there, he performed 4,000 of these lobotomies. And what it did, and for anybody that's watching, I'm going to use a pin here, just kind of an example, so you can see. He would take the ice pick, he would place it here, and then with a hammer, he would hit that ice pick in there, drive it in to sever the connective tissue that was the prefrontal cortex, and many patients died from this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't that kill you on the spot? Like,
a lot of them killed, but it left a lot of healthy patients with physical and cognitive damage. He did this 4,000 times.
If first try doesn't work, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying?
That's why they call it medical
Hey.
practice. He was practicing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what experiment's for.
So, I mean, if you
God, 4,000.
I mean, just think about, when you're talking about hauntings, anybody, that believes in it, you look at it and you believe trauma, severe, encounters, leave marks on these buildings. Imagine you're strapped in a chair, a guy's got an ice pick at your eye, and he's driving a hammer in. 4,000 people.
4,000? After the first 1,000, he didn't think he was going to continue to kill people?
No,
he was trying to find the right spot. He probably started here. He started all over the face before he found the right one, probably. 4,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about just it basically is a torture center. What started out as the most that's going to be state of the art, we are going to heal people, is now considered one of the most brutal, terrible places that you could send somebody that was mentally, and I mean, it's the yin and yang. I mean, you can't get more of an evil than what what's going on with this guy.
You're a doctor at an insane asylum. You're mentally screwed up either way. I'm sorry. You decide to make that your occupation, you got something fucked up in your brain. But you're smart enough to be smarter than the people that you're working on. That's it.
I mean, excuse me. I just thought of it. Just right now.
Oh my god, dude! Like I hit my forehead on something. That shit hurts.
A lot of people may know about this one. This is one. Craig clearly searched all the mental institution because I think he's a little off. So he clearly he didn't really look up no prisons. He looked up mental institutions. But the Alcatraz was had some of the most deplorable conditions. You would think it housed the bank robbers like Machine Gun Kelly and a bunch of other people. And Alcatraz was in the middle of the ocean in LA. Like you couldn't really escape. You had to swim into dark waters to try to escape Alcatraz. It was considered the #1 escape-proof prison in the world. Nobody could ever escape Alcatraz, but a couple people made handmade rafts and tried to escape, and now they say this property is one of the most. There's a lot of ghost sightings have been cited, along with strong sounds, screaming, yelling, whelping, and eerie music. So where would the eerie music come from? Would you think it's the music that the guards played for these inmates?
Played AC/DC.
Possibly. A lot of paranormal investigations, when you're there, people will hear period music from the time, and so it could be. I mean, it could have been something was played during traumatic times that would have a lasting, connection to that facility.
But then, it shut down in like 1963. I mean, that's just a big building gone to waste in the middle of the water. I mean, maybe they can make something out of it.
I don't know. I mean, now just kind of modern times, I really don't know. I mean, if that would be possible.
Yeah. I was doing the research, man. I just didn't dig too deep into it, but there was 8 insane asylums in New York alone. And I was like, I started writing them down. I was like, there's 8 just in New York. What is that saying about New York?
A lot of crazy people.
Jesus, man.
There's a lot of demand apparently. So that's
It seemed like an insane asylum. I mean, it's obvious what it is. It's more of like you're either deformed or you have mental illness. So you're just gonna drop you off at a daycare, a forever daycare, pretty much. Which is, I mean, if you think about it, kind of what a retirement home is now. You're just dropping off what you don't want to take care of anymore, unfortunately.
I believe the medicine that they give you. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that now. Like they'll say, "Hey, look, I'm crazy to beat this murder charge or whatever," and they'll send them off to a mental institution. So the meds that they give them make them crazy, and at the end, they really, they really do be crazy. So
Meds are meds, man.
there's Debbie was just asking. There's actually, I was looking in here. I don't know how many were in Florida. I did see there was a hospital that was. It's a fairly haunted one that's in St. Augustine.
Just count how. What's the population of
Jackson? It might have been Jacksonville. Sorry.
Just look up the population of Florida, and we're in an entire insane asylum itself. Every day, that's it, man. What is it? Millions of people in Florida. We're just one huge state with insane asylum.
Yeah,
we're trapped.
Shots fired. All right, I got you. Yeah, that's. Yeah,
you moved into a trap, Craig.
Right now, ready to see. There was only one that it shows. It was in Chattahoochee, Florida, Florida State Hospital.
Down the
Chattahoochee. It's still open. One of my buddies work at Chattahoochee. He says it's pretty rough.
They said it has capacity for 1,042. I'm not sure how many it currently has, but it's the only one that we have. Looking current population, I can see right now.
We have another one that's close to Georgia called Milledgeville. That's another loony bin too.
While you're looking up stuff, Craig, so there's an asylum still today, right? Like active ones.
Yeah,
well, this Florida hospital. Yeah, there's still a few. I mean, they're more of a state-run hospital. They're not like they were before because now,
okay.
Obviously now there's a lot more standards applied. You can't through medications, other stuff. They don't have kind of the issues like they had before. At least that we know of. There's no ice pick, laboratories going on in any of these facilities. But it's I can't imagine that anybody would have approved of that anyway, even back then.
I just want to know what you're like being a doctor. What is your mindset? I'm gonna go be a nurse for a insane asylum. Why? Like, was that your last choice?
I think it's a good question. I mean, because when you think about it, like that one we just talked about, Trans-Allegheny, it starts out love, compassion. I want to help people. And then it goes so dark. So,
Now, do you think that the people go in there, like you said, they go in there with love, compassion, then they're around these crazy people for forever, and they're like, you know what? I do need to start, doing some experiments, or I've been wanting to try this for a while.
I mean, we talk about...
They just give up.
I mean, we talk about demons and stuff all the time, periodically throughout our day and stuff. I believe sometimes the people get possessed. I mean, if you're dealing with 175 people's problems, at the end of the day, she talks to herself, she runs around and sees people, he does this, he does that. You're dealing with 175 different people's problems. I would think that starts to penetrate your mind. Like, well, you're hearing somebody. Well, I think I heard somebody too. Well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? So maybe it rubs off. They say
it's
bad
the same thing. You guys saw it. You guys saw our ghost episode when I first moved to my house. I was running off of 3 hours of sleep, and I was hearing stuff. I was feeling stuff, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But
no, I think you're just.
I haven't had anything since. So maybe lack of sleep, stuff's going to think in your mind. I am special. Someone called me special on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like I said, after a while of dealing with these people, maybe you do learn to believe that maybe there is a gnome in that sock.
A gnome in that sock.
And you're starting to he might be right.
Yeah, we gotta be careful, man. The more we talk about conspiracies, they're gonna ship us off to one of these insane asylums.
No, but no, it's, Chris, I think it's leaning on something there. I mean, especially if you believe in the supernatural, the possession. I mean, what if if this is the case, somebody is possessed, somebody has that influence. Eventually, as you as a practitioner, you're coming in contact. You're basically, it's like a radiation exposure. You're taking doses of this negative, you're taking doses of this. And before long, somebody that actually might have gone into the profession because I actually care about these people, I want to see them get help. Now you're sitting here
debating on if you're a nut.
You're activities in there, and so now you're abusing these patients that you went into it in the beginning as compassion.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
And Matt just posted up a thing, a stat, and that is actually one of the things I do know. As these things went down, homeless populations have exploded. You have a lot of people on the streets. I mean, San Francisco is a prime example.
That's where Alcatraz came from.
They paid people to walk around and pick up feces, lots of money. Like they have to clean. They get truckloads and truckloads full
It's
of
gross, man.
just waste that homeless people just leave on the road.
And it's those are people that need help. I mean, they need a facility, but there's no treatment facilities like there were. Like I said, they're discards of humanity where most people just look at them like, get away from me. I don't even want to deal with you.
Yeah.
But at some point, something has to be addressed. They've got to get help. It is sad. I mean, it really is. And, but at the same time, you look back not even 100 years ago, I mean, we're literally shipping these people into torture chambers.
And we knew it too. A lot of people knew they were getting dropped off to be tortured, and it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, it's just, you think about 1930s, 1940s, you don't have the ability to take care of a kid with Down syndrome or a kid with a mental learning disability. So you just take it to a facility and just drop them off.
I mean, that's no excuse with this day and time. I mean, I could see back in the day possibly dropping your child off because you couldn't afford him and you thought he would get better treatment. But now the average American is making more money and more money. So, I mean, I think that now at this point in time, you got to feel ashamed of yourself to put your child in a home because you can't feel like you can't take care of them no more. You had that child, take care of that child. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's, I was looking up, trying to find more on that Florida hospital, but while we're doing this, but yeah, I don't.
I mean, I can have a guest come on and talk about Chattahoochee. I mean, that's like right up the road. I'll tell you, I got a buddy who works for Chattahoochee.
We probably
We
revisit
need to take a trip.
Find anything on Pennhurst? I actually never got to that one.
No, I didn't even see Pennhurst.
I'm going to look it up right now because this is also another one. It's in Philadelphia. I'm looking at it right now. So
it's pretty.
Yep, it's going to be.
We can buy tickets. Let's go.
What's Pennhurst?
Yeah.
Buy tickets.
Are you desperate to be single? Because you can't come back. There's ghosts. There's ghosts, sir.
It's
haunted.
Oh, wait a second. There's a trailer. It's a haunted house.
A businessman, he bought it and he actually turned it into a business opportunity.
I wonder, can I buy Rikers Island and take people over there on boat tours?
Yep, that's
I'll go work for you. I'll just stay over there.
You like to be on the water? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, hey.
I'll be over there. I'll be haunted. You'll never. I'll go crazy sitting out there by myself.
It's in California, so it's probably an astronomical price.
And I'm living in California.
Which place?
Chattahoochee. No, Rikers Island.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, we'll have to follow back again. I apologize. I meant to get to that one and I never did.
Dude, we need to take a Three Beards podcast trip. The ticket's only $18 to go to this asylum.
Deb, you gonna come to our meet and greet?
Yeah, Pennhurst. Makes me wonder if it's even haunted. If there's like an attraction, there's no way it's this cheap. No, it's actually haunted.
No, it's haunted. It's haunted.
But it's only $18 to go.
You're gonna get $18 worth of spirits.
Okay, now I see it. But the paranormal investigation is to $100 to $125. I'd pay for that to go get some experience
Yeah.
Where is it at?
in Pennsylvania. I know Keith wants to go to Pennsylvania. Let's bring Keith.
Yeah. It's
So if something happens, he can bust the door down for us. Maybe he's good at busting doors down.
yeah. I'm trying to like I said. I apologize. I said I wish I had more stats, but I mean it's another one of those where thousands of people, overcrowding, just horrific conditions has led
That's
to
probably why.
I mean, we need to get more into like the hauntings and stuff myself. Hopefully kind of like teaser for hopefully next Wednesday is we're going to have a guy on from one of the groups that we're part of to talk about his experiences with demons and archangels.
Archangel.
So if we can get him on, this will kind of tie into that to where it's, I think you create the conditions where it's real easy for entities to attach themselves, latch on, and prey on these weak states, and they're perfect vessels now because they can't resist. They're out of their minds, and so now I believe, myself personally, I believe that several of those people, most likely were possessed, had some sort of attachment, and
I'm curious.
Unfortunately, I think that stayed in that place. That's why some of those facilities, I want to say Ghost Adventures did Penhurst, but there's a few of them. They go there, and there are negative entities there. I mean,
That's what I'm
just
saying, man. It's like
If I worked there, I'd take Sage to work with me every day. I'd be in my little office burning sage. They'd be like, "He's a nut."
I don't know
No,
if there's
no.
enough sage. I think you'd have to plant a whole field of it and just light it off all the time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I posted something the other day. If you burn sage and you start sneezing, then you're the demon.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
allergic to sage.
Yeah, that's what's that joke? It's like lit up a joint, offered it to the demon as he takes a puff. So it's psych, that was sage. Now get that out.
I'm trying
It's
to
like,
find a trip to go to Pennsylvania.
I think we need to. Because it's one of those. We still need to go to Casadega.
We're still planning trips, and we haven't been
Yes,
to
we do.
Casadega yet. But that's
We need to
gonna
get
be our
to
first
No,
meet and greet.
it's right here, man.
We do one of those. Just go do that. So that may, who knows? We may actually, for here in Central Florida, we may try to do that as a
Our first
podcast,
official meet and greet.
like a meet and greet, and actually meet up there, just have the one, just go around so people can explore it. And that was one of our first episodes talking about Casadega. So, for anybody that's kind of a little bit into the paranormal, that would be a great place, especially like tarot readings. My personal favorite device, Ouija board.
That you won't have in the house.
Ouija
Yeah.
board? Sorry, my phone cut out. I want to do Ouija board.
Ooh, no.
Thank
No.
God my girlfriend's not listening right now.
No.
Let's plan a trip.
No Ouija boards in this house.
I'll say we're going to the beach. I'll say we're going to the beach, and then we're going to a haunted house.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Also,
stuck.
you're like, what are you going to the beach? No, you went the wrong directions.
Yeah, my bad.
So
Oh man, I want to go, just experience it. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Might as well experience yourself. If you don't see anything, it wasn't your time to try something. I don't know.
So
That's why people drop that stuff so quick, man. They're like, "Oh, an experiencing, it's fake." They didn't want to show themselves to you. It's one of those things.
yeah. Well, man, while Kelly doesn't make a sage scent to help you with your ghost fighting, he does
Not
make
yet.
other blends for your beard. So that's Brott's Beard Care, brottsbeardcare.com. Use our code.
If you look really closely, I'm tearing up because he ran out of Island Breeze. I didn't buy the last bottle. So.
Yeah,
I know. I tried to get you to buy last. I posted it for you
I know.
the other
I
day.
slacked off too much, and I don't have it. I should have been the last person to buy it, but it didn't happen. So
yeah. Promo code
Sorry.
3beards capital.
I'll get
B.
some different one. I have like the last couple drops of apple butter, so I gotta go see him this Saturday at the Winter Garden Farmers Market.
Yeah,
Get some
check
more.
him out. Nanny Cakes, Nancy Burke.
Yeah.
Get the like somebody picking up my
Check him
son's
out. He's always at
birthday.
Winter Gardens Farmers Market. I think his brother and him are usually in Orlando. the farmers market. He posts a lot on his Instagram. Make sure you check him out. Him and his brother are always posting where they're going to be. Sometimes they go to land.
And
Yeah,
then
check
I
him out
have
there.
her phone number memorized.
I
What's
love him. A great guy too.
407? Awesome.
You there, Craig?
Yeah, Nancy, what's her phone number? I always forget it.
Hello.
I think we lost Austin. So anyway, check out Nancy on there. She's Nanny Cakes, Nancy Burke. She's on
You there?
Facebook.
Or we just
We have our page, threebeerspodcast.com. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, on major podcast forums, except for iHeart at this moment. Like, share, please get the word out about us. If you like this program, you think somebody might enjoy it, please share it. We appreciate all that love from our way. So, fortunately, we lost Austin right at the end. But thank you, everybody, and thanks for listening. And please have a great day. Stay safe. We will see you again later on. Good night.